Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning from WKYT and welcome to the latest news. I'm Bill Bryan.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. It is Wednesday, October 7th.
Hump day already. And now at 6 a.m., reaction from concert goers who were stuck in traffic well into this morning after the Luke Bryan concert in Lexington.
An investigation's underway after an accident on a Kentucky military base left a soldier dead.
And police put out an alert in the Lexington neighborhood where there has been an increase in a certain type of crime.
50s out there this morning. Another gorgeous start to the day. Once that sun rises, you're going to see a really good looking sunrise. It might be a little cool in some locations, especially down toward the southern zones, and then we hit the afternoon. Beautiful day in store, upper 70s to around 80 degrees. We have big changes Friday and off into your weekend. Show you that coming up.
All right, let's get to the news. More than 20,000 people packed Talon Winery to see country music superstar Luke Bryan perform. But getting concert goers in and then out of that venue proved to be a very tough task.
Yeah, lots of people actually ended up being stuck in their cars for hours. Some even ran out of gas. This is Sky First video of the backup on Tates Creek Road that at one point was actually 8 miles long. WKYT's Mark Barber is live with a look at these concert traffic troubles.
Good morning, Rebecca and Bill. As you can see from that video, it was pretty chaotic on the roads. Right now, most of the fans, they're all gone. They're out of here, but cleanup crews, they are out here. They're working to pick up the trash and take down these lights, but they're getting a very late start because they say the fans were still pulling out of here 2 hours ago. Again, the concert ended at 11 p.m., so that means it took fans about 5 hours to finally make it out of the Talon Winery. And of course, that's after many of them waited for hours in traffic just to get here. The Luke Bryan concert was supposed to begin around 7 o'clock last night, but he delayed it until 9:30 because so many people were finding themselves stuck in a traffic nightmare. Cars were bumper to bumper and barely moving on the one-lane road, so many people ditched their cars on the side of the road and started walking to the concert. We spoke with one man who ran out of gas after the concert because he waited and waited and waited in traffic.
Our next plan is to go to my girlfriend's house and have our friends pick us up and then go to work in the morning.
Now, traffic conditions were so bad that some people did not even make it here. We've asked if those people will be given a refund for their tickets, but we've not received an answer at this time. This morning, we are also checking to see if this concert will cost the city any overtime dollars. Of course, officers were out at these intersections across the city, mainly along Tates Creek, for hours and hours last night. They were still out here early this morning when we drove here around 4:30, so we are also checking to see if this will cost the city any of those overtime dollars. That's the latest here from the Talon Winery. I'm Mark Barber, WKYT.
Some of us encountered some of them trying to get home as we were coming into work this morning. There was at least one crash related to last night's concert traffic. Lexington police say a woman walking away from Talon Winery was hit by a truck. The driver was in stop-and-go traffic and swerved to try to miss hitting a car and instead hit the woman on the side of the road about a mile from Talon Winery. Police say the woman has minor injuries. The driver is not facing any charges.
The military is investigating what went wrong during a training exercise at Fort Campbell that left a soldier dead. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain is at our live desk this morning to explain what we know at this point.
An official at Fort Campbell is saying the soldier was shot and killed by another soldier during a routine training Tuesday morning. The soldier died at the hospital on base. The soldier's name is not being released as of right now. Officials are saying they believe this was an accident. An investigation is underway and may take weeks to complete. A Fort Campbell spokesperson says the soldier was in a squad-level group of 7 to 9 people. The group was conducting a training exercise using live fire when the soldier was shot. The exercise is routine, and the official says this accident is rare.
It's something we do fairly often, and these soldiers go into these exercises well trained. I mean, there's steps that go into this before they go into an exercise that takes place under live fire conditions.
No one else was injured in the incident. Other servicemen are said to be receiving counseling. Fort Campbell sits on the Kentucky-Tennessee line and is home to the Army's 5th largest military population. At the live desk, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
All right, we'll stay on top of the investigation into that.
Well, another threatening message has been found, this time at a different Madison County school.
Right, Clark Moore's middle school leaders say someone found the message on a bathroom wall, and they think it is someone copycatting a threatening message found Sunday night at Eastern Kentucky University. Richmond police have told us they are taking the message seriously, but they do not think that any students are in any danger. Now, EKU says that a $10,000 reward has led to some tips about the threatening message found in the Powell building. As a precaution, Model Laboratory School on campus is closed for the rest of the week.
This morning, Lexington police are alerting neighbors in the Masterson Station neighborhood about a series of thefts. Police report at least 9 thefts from cars in the last month. They're going door to door right now to warn people in the neighborhood. Electronics, other items, even guns have been stolen. In most cases, police say the cars were left unlocked.
Lexington city leaders are considering paying a consulting group nearly $200,000 to determine if the city should build or lease a new government center. The Herald Leader reports the group would have 90 days to complete a study. The new developers of Centerpoint have suggested that City Hall should be moved into the complex there as part of the overall development. But Mayor Jim Gray says the city has not made any deals with the new developers. The current City Hall building is costly to maintain. Center College in Danville hosted a debate in the governor's race featuring Democrat Jack Conway and Republican Matt Bevin. Independent candidate Drew Curtis did not qualify for last night's debate. Apparently he was there in the audience. One of the issues discussed was Kentucky County clerks who are refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples because of religious reasons.
In a regular session of the General Assembly, if we can come up with some narrowly tailored plan that upholds the Supreme Court's decision on marriage equality, but also allows for very narrowly tailored exemptions to allow those few clerks to exercise their religious beliefs, then I'm okay with that accommodation.
And if I were governor, I would indeed remove the names of the clerks from the forms. We would, in fact, make this a downloadable form. It would then be filed like a deed mortgage, like a deed or a mortgage or a lien, like any other document that would allow it to then be adjudicated accordingly, but not officiated by the clerks themselves.
Both major party candidates will be taking part in another debate. That is coming up on Sunday, October 25th on the EKU campus in Richmond. And that debate will air live on WKYT.
Well, a very special guest helped a Lexington-based company celebrate a big milestone. Valvoline kicked off its 150-year commemoration last night at Rupp Arena. NASCAR Sprint Cup driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. showed up to help the company celebrate.
Pretty awesome. They've been a great partner of ours and really help our performance out on the racetrack. We started out at the beginning of the year, and in just several months we've been able to find some extra horsepower in the composition of the oil.
Well, Valvoline is America's oldest registered motor oil brand.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris and First Alert Defender.
The good news this morning, we have no rain out and about, and it looks like we're going to stay with mostly clear skies. Maybe a little fog down in the far southern zones, but we're taking a big picture look at it, and there's nothing going on. I mean, you look at Defender and you're thinking, it's not even working. There's nothing on the screen. And I wanted to span out and show you this, that there is really nothing on its way until we hit Friday and off towards your weekend. That's when things start to change. There's that front that we're going to be seeing later on. So for today and tomorrow, you're good to go. Whatever you have planned, take off and enjoy. Temperatures sitting there in the 50s this morning. It's a little chilly in some locations, maybe down south. That's where we had the clearing of the skies all night long, and we're staying there in the low 50s, maybe finishing off at a 49-degree reading. Some people's backyard thermometer, for the most part, will stay in the 50s. A very nice morning in store. We hit the afternoon, 79 degrees. Yesterday in Frankfort, we hit 80. Down south, we hit 80. I mean, in a lot of locations, we've hit 80 degrees past couple of days. So we'll stay there in the upper 70s, lower 80s, and we'll look for sun and cloud mix. And today, Keeneland's kicking off. If you're heading out to Keeneland, should be good to go. It'll be a really nice day out at Keeneland, and very packed too once people get off work. Warming trend continues, and that goes through today and tomorrow. Friday, it's going to be a different story. We're starting to see that rain chance move on in as the front slides on in here. And it's not just a rain, not just a front that brings rain, but also a front that brings much cooler conditions there for the weekend. Check out these temperatures. Be at 62 degrees there for all the festivals going on Saturday. A lot of neighborhood yard sales too, kicking off Saturday morning. I will tell you this. There is a small rain chance down in southeastern Kentucky there early Saturday morning. I mean, far southeastern Kentucky. So most of us will stay dry. Afternoon looks pretty good. It's just on the cool side. Sunday at 68. That is nice right there. Hey, yesterday we saw some clouds filter in. Boy, did we have a good sunset yesterday and a good sunrise. It was beginning and the end of the day yesterday were phenomenal. Richmond, this is Becky Chappelle, and she sent that one in. Really, really neat shot there. And how gorgeous is this? I'm going to step on out of the way. And this is Nancy. And Nancy, if I butcher your name, don't yell at me, okay? This is a hard one. But Sanetsnik? Let's hope that's it. Hey, if you want to call me up here at WKYT and yell at me and tell me how to say your last name. Other than that, man, that is an awesome, awesome picture you have there in Mount Sterling. Really good shot last night. 7-day forecast next couple of days look phenomenal. Upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Still humidity's down, so that's okay with me. Friday, there is your rain chance. And once that pushes through, Rebecca, it's a pretty good looking weekend. I mean, you guys, you love going out to those like rave run areas and heading out hiking and whatnot. Yeah. Good for the weekend. And really in the next several days except Friday.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Each morning we bring you weather and traffic together. Here's Officer Don right now with a look at what is happening out on the roads.
As we check out Nicholasville Road this morning, in and outbound past Man of War, just a stalled car past the intersection over to the right. On Harrodsburg Road, looking good through the crossover to kick things off this morning. Light traffic there. Over on the north side, so far, no major complaints to deal with. Inner and outer loops of the circle between Boardwalk over to Winchester Road, things are steady. And our Waze map showing nothing major happening in the Hamburg area as traffic looks okay in the inner and outer loops of there as Man of War between Sir Barton and over to Richmond Road. Of course, we'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. Now back to the studio.
Don, we know you had a very long day yesterday flying over those crowds, but that must have been something to see from your vantage point there at the concert.
Yeah, it really was. I tell you, I've been flying around for a long time. It's probably the craziest thing I've seen in a long time as far as traffic delays, especially on Tates Creek Road. I mean, we're talking at one point it was backed up from about Alumni all the way to Talon Farm and Winery. That's quite a backup that folks had to endure to get into that show last night. The show was great.
All right. That's what we hear. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And,
wow. People running out of gas. Taking 5 hours to get out of there. What a mess.
Yeah, it was something, wasn't it? All right. Time this morning is 6:12 on WKYT. Great to have you along. And more news is coming up.
Well, staff and patients were killed in a U.S. airstrike in Afghanistan. What Doctors Without Borders wants to see happen now in 3 minutes.
And also, Dunkin' Donuts says it has a surprise to McDonald's all-day breakfast rollout. We'll have that story ahead.